So who is going to win the election in 2020? Let me wade in on this for you.
Informed, non-inflamed. Politics.
And hi everyone, John Daly here. I made a fairly good prediction 4 years ago. It was 4 years ago this month that I wrote a column telling you that Donald Trump would be a formidable factor in the 2016 election. Now that was 14 months before the 2016 election. You can read it on informednotinflamed.com. That is from August 4th, 2015. I would also suggest a book called Carnage by Tim Alberta, who documents the civil war within the Republican Party that led to Donald Trump. Now, many of the things I wrote about in my column back then are confirmed in this book. Now, granted, I didn't predict entirely that Trump would win, but I thought he would be in the race for the long run, and he would probably come really close to beating Hillary. Again, 14 months before the election. Now, in that respect, I was right. However, he did not win the popular vote. Now, someone who did predict Trump is Alan Lichtman. He is an author and a university professor. He has 13 factors, and right now, those factors point to Trump barely winning re-election. Now, that could change since one of the factors is the economy. Right now, that is a check mark in Trump's re-election column that he is fighting to keep there, as both sides argue whether the economic indicators point to a recession or not. You're going to have to decide that, and we'll have to see. Right now, I would say that we are seeing a downturn, but a recession might be years off. Remember, I'm no economist. Now, in fairness, predicting presidential elections this far out is difficult. There are so many factors that are unknowns. For instance, who knew that FBI Director Comey would exonerate Hillary and then give a strange explanation that seemed to indict her politically? And then the Russian involvement. It was not known at the time, and even today, we're not certain if Russia actually changed votes. It's certain they changed minds, and the minds of what I would say are very uninformed people. So I have been asked to give my predictions again 14 months before the election. So I'll do that here. But to be honest, this is really more an exercise in guessing. I think there are some big unknowns that will be revealed soon, and certainly before the election. The biggest factor is the economy and the effects of Trump's trade war. Like me, many people were in favor of Trump trying to tame China's exploits and their exploitation of trade policies. But also like me, I think many Americans, including Trump supporters, are frustrated with the way he's doing it. Clearly, he would have been much more successful at taming China if he stayed within TPP. This way, we would have had more allies working with us against China. Frankly, Trump's American brashness has turned off or confused many allies. Not only that, but this trade war could actually result in a recession. We also don't know if there will be a skirmish in the Middle East involving Iran. That will have a moderate to minimal effect to our economy. The good news is we have shale oil still, and we don't need the Middle East. However, this could lead to a worldwide recession, though. The biggest factor, though, is Trump's base. Right now, I would say 33% of the country is firmly in Trump's camp. These people will not sway. You can say what you want about them. Some of them are grossly uninformed. Others see him as the antidote to entrenched Republican and Democratic thinking that has hurt them. There are also 40% of the people who will never vote for Trump. He could cure cancer and they would still side against him. And to be honest, I get that too. These are people who expect more out of a president. These are people who believe he has hurt our country in the long run, and it may take decades to fix. So this election will be decided on 30% of the electorate. These people are moderates who have become independents and who are vacillating Democrats and Republicans. And they live in only a few states, probably Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Carolina, and probably Florida. And they are going to be the ones who will decide this election as they decided 2016. So, will they go for Trump again? As of now, I would say no. Is that set in stone? Absolutely not. We don't know what Russia or China cyber hacking and bots will do. I mention China because what most people don't know is that China's cyber hacking is more sophisticated than Russia's. In addition, China has a big reason to get Trump out of office. He is a menace to their society with this trade war. My guess is the 2020 campaign could be between Russia versus China. The other factor is Trump weariness. Many of these people who voted for him before won't do it again because He is so chaotic. I think there is a sizable number. Don't get me wrong. There were things that Trump talked about, especially China, that made sense. We do need comprehensive immigration, but the way he is going about it has been chaotic, and it has excluded the feelings of the majority of Americans. In addition, his demeanor, at times unhinged, is beginning to turn people off. I also think there's a strong possibility that Trump does not want to win again. He's doing all the things that could hurt his reelection. I still believe in that theory that he never wanted to be president. He was just using an election campaign to launch his own TV network. It still seems that way at times. Okay, so here are the reasons that Trump might not get elected. The economy, the effects of a bad economy caused by his trade war, people getting tired of him, and Trump getting tired of the job. Now, let's look at why he could get reelected. First, the Electoral College is actually a benefit to him. He cannot win the popular vote, but he can still win a lot of those small red states with big electoral votes. Second, he is facing a Democrat. Will Rogers' old saying from the early 20th century was that I am not a member of an organized political party, I am a Democrat. That holds true today. Just as the Republicans are going through an internal civil war that Trump has apparently won, the Democrats are doing the same thing too. They are just going further to the left. And frankly, there are too many Americans who hear the word socialism and they get scared. They still have this notion of the Soviet Union or places like Nicaragua or Venezuela. They also remember the 1970s and that horrible economy when we as a country lurched towards socialistic tendencies. Plus, the Republicans, they do a great job of hammering this socialistic theme. The Democrats only helped them. The majority of the people in this country do not want Medicare for all. They do not want free college education for all. Worse, they pushed free medical care for migrants crossing the border. Yet candidates like Bernie Sanders continue to push these economic drainers that will only help Trump and hurt whoever the Democratic candidate is. On top of that, Democrats don't harp on the Republicans' fascist tendencies. Now, I'm no political strategist, but I'd be showing Trump's coziness with the world's dictators who resemble Hitler, Stalin, and Mussolini. Too many times, Democrats come to a shootout with a butter knife. So those are the main factors that could get Trump in again. The Electoral College is in his favor. He is the incumbent and the economy turns around. He could get back a big part of the moderates, and Democrats are lousy political fighters. The big unknown is who will be the Democratic candidate. Right now, I would give the edge to Mayor Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, or Tom Steyer. Why? Well, they seem to hit consolidating issues and themes that will reach a wider range of Democrats and independents. These are the only candidates who seem to bridge the far left and the moderate side of the Democratic or independent voters. My gut is telling me Mayor Pete. I know that sounds ridiculous, going from mayor of South Bend, Indiana to the White House. But he is the perfect foil to Trump. He is articulate. He served in the military. He comes across rational. And he seems to be empathetic to a wider range of Americans. These are things that Donald Trump is not, at least to a majority of Americans. If we believe that many Americans are just tired of Trump, then Mayor Pete may have caught their ear. Yes, he seems to have a problem with African American voters. He can solve that by putting Kamala Harris on the ticket. I don't think the Democrats are ready for a women candidate again. I think the Hillary thing turned them off too much. So my guess is he will pick a woman of color as a running mate. Now, my intuition tells me that Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders will slowly drift out of favor because of their age. And again, that'll take time towards the end of the year and going into the primaries. Are these picks of mine set in stone? Absolutely not. I could see other factors. And again, there are too many things that could happen. Your turn. What are you seeing this far out? Talk to you next time.
For more on John Daly, go to informednotinflamed.com.